もしやコスモでは。
Cosmo needs me free.
Cosmo AP Luxury Sports.
I guess I'll take these fenders off now. I really don't know how they actually come off. I'm guessing that I'm going to start by removing these bolts along the top, and then I found some bolts in here, but after that I really don't know. This one's already half ripped off from the previous tire explosion, so it should come off pretty easily. In multiple pieces. Well, I checked my spare fender in the basement, and I found out that there's one hidden bolt down here in the wheel well, and of course it's completely coated with undercoating. There we go. Well, it looks like I have some issues. There's some more riveted on patch panels. This is not how you fix rust. And not much of a surprise, the sill area here is pretty rotted out. At least that's an easy repair. It doesn't have to be cosmetic, just strong. Well, I have a feeling that I'm going to find some unpleasantness when I take this fender off. Well, it looks like the guy with the rivet gun was busy again. We have this whole area here that's been rotted out, and then these panels were riveted in place instead of fixing the rust. But additionally, it's pretty well rotted out up here, as judged by this big hole and the missing material here. And down here, once again, we have some rot, which I actually saw from the inside, so I expected it. There's a lot of blasting grit from the floor. But additionally, there's a bunch of repair that'll have to take place in this area that goes all the way to the inside as well. On the top of the fender, you can see the filler as evidence of a repair which took place. It looks like what happened is that it was dented, which damaged the paint, and then it caused rust pinholes to form because here's the filler that has kind of oozed through. So this probably won't be too much of a problem to fix because it's on a flat spot. This is going to be a little bit more annoying because it's a multi-layered panel and the other side is totaled as well. Well, it's been about 3 weeks since I've worked on this thing. I had a bunch of other projects that I needed to do, and additionally, I needed the ramps in order to swap out the diff on my RX-5. So, time to get Cosmo back in the air and continue work. It's been so long I forget what I was doing. I think I was removing this front. So let's get some of this accumulated crap off here and continue on. So I really don't know the steps to remove this front nose cone. But it looks like I have to take the headlights off first. So I'm just going to pull parts off randomly until the thing comes off. Well, that's the first ever bolt I've broken on this car. And a second. Taking out a lot of bolts. It's got to come off at some point. I think these are the last two. Spring-loaded hood latches look like they'd want to kill me unless I deal with them very carefully. And this one's broken, so that looks deadly. Whoop, whoop, here we go. Where the hell am I going to put this? Whoop. Okay. Horns work. This thing. Well, that nose came off without too much drama, so now it's time to move on to the subframes. Just disconnecting the sway bar right now. I probably should take the wheel off, but I'm not quite ready to do that because then I have to put jacks under everything to support the car, and I still want to be able to have the space underneath. Passenger side. There we go. I'm a bit concerned about getting these bolts out. The rust level's pretty high. Oh, I think she just barely came. Stop and put some lube on that before I wear out my luck. Let that sit. While that PB blaster penetrating oil is working, I'll go to the other side, which has a lot less rust. Oh yeah. No problem on those. Back to the passenger side. Engine mount, subframe, and one stabilizer bar. Actually, you know what? Those holes really aren't in bad shape. Just run a tap through them and they'll be fine. In order for the subframe to come down, the struts need to be removed. I think that once I remove the struts and the subframe mounting bolts, I'll be able to just raise the car off of the subframe with the jack. Okay, change of plan. I'm going to put the car up on jack stands first and then use the jack to lower the subframe down because I don't think this jack has enough height to lift the car off the subframe. I just hate working with jack stands. I've never taken these wheels off before. Oh, that was a pleasant surprise. That was awesome. I was completely expecting them to be totally rusted on. The driver's side subframe nuts came off really easily, so I suspect the passenger side will be the same. Or not. There we go. Well, I guess it should just lower out now. Maybe I have to hit it with a hammer. Yeah, that did it. There we go. Figures. Okay. One subframe. Yay! Well, now that the front end is taken apart, I have to clean up this area before I blast it and repair the rust. Now, everyone's seen me scrape this crap off before, so I don't think anyone, including myself, wants to watch it again. So I'm just going to turn the camera off, scrape all this undercoating and junk off, and then turn the camera back on, and we'll pick up from where I left off. Well, this is about as much fun as choreographing a Justin Bieber versus James Earl Jones strip-off. Yeah, now try getting that mental image out of your brain. I would sure love to just sandblast all this stuff off, but sandblasting doesn't do very well with tars or rubberized coatings. I would just go through a ton of blast media trying to get even a little bit of this junk off. So really, the only thing I can do is scrape the majority of it off manually, and I'm already into that for about 4 or 5 hours, and then clean it up with kerosene, and then do the sandblasting. Well, that was fun. Before I go on to the other side, I'm going to blow these rivets off and then take these ridiculous patch panels off to uncover what I'm dealing with here. Oh, great. This is the result of fixing rust with spare bits of aluminum siding and rivets. This goes all the way to the inside of the car, which explains actually why the floor rotted out. Well, now it's time to do the exact same thing on the other side. Screw that. This is highly unpleasant and time-consuming work. It's pretty hard to find motivation when you're entering the shop knowing that you have a few hours of this in front of you. I need an intern for stuff like this. Preferably a female intern. Who is just, desperate for approval and attention. Oh. Jeez. Well, that's kind of a lot more rust than I wanted to see. I think in lieu of fixing these, I'm going to probably see if I can find some that can be cut off a parts car or something. All the people in Australia watching, if you're parting out a Cosmo, I need the right and left of this section. This enormous pile of dirt is just everything that I scraped out of the wheel wells and blew off of the fenders. God, it's just horrendous. It's probably like what you'd get if you scraped off Charlie Sheen's bed. Except, you know, with less blood and tears. Just like in the engine bay, I'm using kerosene to take off as much of the residue of the tar and undercoating as I can. It's thin enough that it'll just blast right off, but again, blasting just generally doesn't work as well on tarry and rubbery things. So I figure it's worth the 5 minutes to kerosene it to remove more residue. Plus, the less the blasting media gets contaminated, the more times I can just dump it back into the blaster and keep using it instead of having to replace it all the time. Well, this has soaked for a while, so we'll just wipe it off. Oh yeah, that works pretty well. Gotta love the kerosene. Still solid. So now I'm just doing the exact same thing on the driver's side. I had to go to Home Hardware for some more kerosene, and at the same time I picked up some duct tape because I was out of duct tape. And when I got up to the cashier I was feeling kind of naughty, so I asked her if this duct tape would be strong enough to restrain an approximately 110 pound, you know, average girl. When she looked at me kind of odd, I then asked, and do you think it'll dissolve in the kerosene? Because I sure hope not. The look on her face was absolutely awesome. Well, that's all done. And I'll tell you one thing, that is really not high on my list of fun things to do. Since there's rust in the door frame area and behind the dashboard, it seems like a logical time to remove the dash before I blast. I really have no idea how it comes out, but it seems like the logical first step is to remove the glove box. Maybe the steering column comes out next. I've already disconnected all the wiring harnesses, and since I removed the steering box, it looks like all I have to do is remove 2 bolts. Oops, there we are. Stereo hacked up crappy wiring out of the way. This A-pillar trim hides some bolts as well, so it looks like it has to come out. It's in pretty good shape, at least compared to the RX-7s, which normally crack to pieces after a few years. Probably just need a fresh coat of trim paint, and it'll be good to go. Oh, sweet! Dragonfly. You know, I want to find people who do stuff like this and then castrate them. Because really, if they wire like this, God help us if they reproduce. Well, I guess it's time to start removing bolts. I left my little electric impact at the office, so I have to use this stupid air ratchet, which I hate. A lot of hidden bolts. Looks like I'm on the right track. I think everything is disconnected, so let's see if this dash comes out now. Looks like I have to disconnect some heater control lines. Looks like I need to remove these ventilator knobs, but this is made a bit more difficult by the fact that they are now supporting the dash. Now she'll come out. Okay. One more time. There we go. Aha! Slowly. There we go. Lovely. There we go. Okay, question. What exactly is this? To me it looks like the ECU that controls all the emission solenoids. And if it is, I don't need it anymore, and I can remove it. And this bracket will be a perfect spot to mount my ECU. So if that's what this is, and anybody knows, please let me know. This is the passenger side of the car, this is the heater box, and this is the flasher and relay unit. Then this thing just goes into the dash harness, and it looks like it goes out into the engine bay. Well, with the dash out of the way, I might as well remove the rest of the heater components. This stock heater box is coming out because I'll be putting in a vintage air unit. There we go. There's just like 9 hidden bolts. Well, I'll pull the flasher unit out next. Might as well get all this under dash stuff out of the way. Ugh, sand in my face. Well, I guess before the flasher comes out, there's some little module of some kind that has to come out first in order to access the bolt. I don't know what it is, but it's in the way, and apparently has a lot of sand on it that is ending up in my eyes. Ugh. No idea. Oh, there's all kinds of washers and stuff that are holding it in. There we go. Ah, there we go. That was an ordeal. Well, since I plan on welding to the firewall, I might as well just remove this whole pedal assembly because I also have to remove the firewall insulating material as well, which has just torn completely to shreds, of course. Lovely. Fur. Well, at this point, with everything else out of the way, the underdash wiring harness can just unclip, and it should just kind of drop down. There we go. One dash harness. And finally, this firewall insulating panel can come right out. It's held on by little bendy clamps that I've already unbent. It's falling apart, but I don't want to completely destroy it because I need it as a pattern for when I cut out a new one. There we go. Well, now that the front end is disassembled and the dashboard is removed, I guess the next task is to media blast the front end.